Welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel, where we bring you critical and in-depth reviews on just about every indie game we can get our hands on, and today we're going to be taking a look at Gunlord X, which just came to the Nintendo Switch. And if you're familiar with a game called Turrican and any of its platforms or releases, you're already going to know a lot about what this game's about, but for everyone else, let's just dive into the story. Gunlord himself is like the intergalactic Rambo. He's a total BA who's not afraid of a challenge, and he can summon guns on command. But despite this, he's managed to get himself captured by the evil Master, and just as he's ready to blast himself out, he discovers that his new wife has also been captured. So upon his escape, he's ready to turn right back around and chase Master for one more time. And it's essentially this rescuing the damsel in distress scenario that's meant to push us through the game's 11 levels. Starting off the game though is a bit like being thrown into the deep end of the pool, because this game isn't only going for a retro look, but a retro gameplay style. And though you can definitely go into the menu and figure out what some of the command buttons are, the best way to learn how to play is gonna be by playing the game. As this is a run and gun style action platformer, we're given a main power weapon that can be powered up by any number of weapon upgrades found everywhere through the map, which give us access to blasts like giant fireballs, spread shots, or even multiple bouncing pellets, as well as a snake beam that can be used to destroy enemies as well as cancel out enemy fire. And I have to admit that I actually made it all the way to the game's 4th chapter before I accidentally nudged the game's right thumbstick and activated that snake beam for the first time. And as if these two OP weapons weren't enough, there's two additional methods of enemy clearing available to the player. One is a total screen clear blast that'll wipe out every enemy in the visual screen, and the other is the ability to transform into a very Samus-like ball that allows you to rocket across the screen, dropping blasts in your wake. But despite the ability to encounter 60 different types of enemies as you blast your way to the finish line in each of these levels, playing Gunlord X with the sole motivation to blast your way to the end of the level as quickly as possible might actually cheat you out of a lot of what the levels have to offer. And though many players may automatically assume that exploring large levels is just needlessly jeopardizing their own health, you will occasionally be able to come across shields and stackable extra lives that can definitely get you further in the game. But one of the biggest advantages to players is seeing if you can collect all of the large gems available in each level. Should you be able to collect 100% of the large pink gems that are available in each area of the game, you'll immediately be granted a permanent continue. And as the difficulty of each level definitely ramps up the further you get into the game, and the game's levels get longer and longer, stacking up more and more of those continues are pretty much going to be one of the only ways to make it through. But regardless of whether you intend to make it to the next level by running and gunning or by exploration, it's easy to be impressed by the visual diversity available in each level. And on that note, every level is completely unique, not only in its visuals and backgrounds, but in its absolutely stellar soundtrack. And as Gunlord X does appear to have been modeled after the iconic era of 90s platforming, the 90s vibe Euro techno is a perfect fit. It's not so light that it's completely unnoticeable, but it's not heavy enough that it's actually going to add to any of the anxiety you might feel while slaughtering your way through massive hordes of enemies. And in addition to the massive diversity of enemies we mentioned earlier, there's actually a good handful of bosses as well, and sometimes multiple bosses per level. And it's in confronting each of these unique bosses and learning their attack patterns that those extra lives and extra continues are really going to come in handy. But unlike the previous version of Gunlord, if you can't manage to beat the entire game only on the lives and continues you manage to collect on your single playthrough, you will be able to make use of the new level select on the start screen to pick up pretty much where you left off on your last playthrough. And while some hardcore players may see this as cheapening the game just a little bit, the levels in Gunlord X have been massively expanded, new bosses have been added, and even new levels have been added. Additionally, enemy difficulty and spawns as well as weapon power have been rebalanced. So despite the addition of a level select, the game is still just as challenging, if not now more available to more players. All in all though, I'd have to say that Gunlord X is definitely one of the best shoot 'em up games that we've reviewed on this channel so far, and at a day one price of $9.99 with no discount, it's really a no-brainer if you're a fan of this type of genre. But on that genre-related note, if you are a player who was thrilled by games like Run, Gun, Jump Gun that require blasting and speed, even though Gunlord X does have the occasional level with a forced progression, you may find yourself trying to slow down just a little bit. Because as stated by the developers, one of the 3 key elements of this game is exploration, and that's definitely some of the way it was meant to be played. But if you want to make things harder on yourself, please just run through full force and blow up everything you see. Because just like I did, eventually you're going to get to a place with destructible bridges, and then you'll just have to die to get the bridge to respawn. And in all honesty, I think that's one of the reasons I enjoyed this game so much, is because it does require you to both anticipate and think, and occasionally take your thumb off of the fire button. But anyway, that does about wrap up the review of Gunlord X, now on the Nintendo Switch. So if you enjoyed the review or found it helpful, feel free to throw me a like or a comment to show your support. And don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content. There are new and unique indies coming out literally every single day, so there's always going to be something new to find out about right here. But since I can only cover a few games a week, if you want to find out which ones might be being reviewed next, you can follow us on Twitter or check out the announcements page on our new Discord channel. But anyway, this has been Budget Gamer, so as always, thanks for watching.